Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror short films. I may not be James A. Janice, but today we're looking at Game Over: The Legacy of Jigsaw, released in 2022. This may seem like a pretty weird video considering that I'm copying a certain big YouTuber, and you probably don't have enough context. I absolutely love Dead Meat. I've been watching the videos for quite some time, and this video is actually a remake of one that I've already done. We don't need to talk about that one. I covered Game Over: The Legacy of Jigsaw exactly 1 year ago today. That video technically sits at my highest viewed video, and no, I won't be linking that video for certain reasons. There were a couple mistakes that bothered me watching the video, so on the video's 1 year anniversary, instead of coming up with original ideas, I wanted to go back and give that short film the proper kill count that it deserves. In that original video, the script was a complete mess, I didn't know how to slow down, and the editing was absolute garbage. So today I want to correct those mistakes and make a video I'm actually happy with. Plus, with the whole SAG-AFTRA thing, I think it's appropriate to share and appreciate work from independent creators and other short films. So for the cast and crew that have already watched that original video, if you're down to experience some deja vu, it's time to give Game Over a proper kill count. Game Over is a horror fan film by director Andres A. Cotes and written by Brandon Sierra. That's right, Cotes, not Cotes, like I mistakenly said in the original video. Director Andres Cotes, co-director Alexander Lee, and writer Brandon Sierra all star in the short film as well, which, if you don't know, is pretty common for short films. Prior to the short film's release, I had talked to director Cotes about his short film. I expressed interest right after watching the trailer, with the only problem I had being the lack of original music in the trailer. Although Cotes told me that he was working on a new trailer with original music, and I knew from then on that it was 100% something to be excited for. If you're not too well versed in filmmaking, making a short film is no easy task, believe me, I know. So I can wholeheartedly appreciate what everyone on this production team has done. The music, to the acting, to the story, and even the cinematography. Now, if you're expecting something on par with a Marvel film, don't. At least, not the older MCU films. This is a fan film purely for the love of Saw. Heck, I'm a fan of Saw too. Like, I'm a fan of Saw as well, and not just Saw 2 specifically. I love these movies equally, so before you watch this video, please watch Game Over in its entirety and enjoy it for what it is, a short film. The people on this production deserve to be recognized for everything. Game Over follows Detective Alan Martinez. Alan's a no-nonsense detective with a bit of a troubled past that gets involved in a brand new string of Jigsaw murders. And similar to the movies, all of his friends get roped in and suffer the fate that befall many in a usual Saw film and end up dying one by one. The story itself is set in the same town as the original Saw movies, but it is not in fact shot in the same place. If you don't know, with the exception of the first movie, the Saw movies are filmed in the cold up north in Toronto, Canada. You can even see the base of Vought Tower from The Boys at the start of Saw 7. The city name in the movies is the usual generic name, Metro City, but there's a part of me that likes to think that Jigsaw is canonically Canadian. The more you know, I guess. Game Over is filmed in Phoenix, Arizona, from what the credits tell me, which is a place that IMDb is telling me that Transformers: The Last Night filmed in, along with 200 other places. Game Over sets up a brand new mystery as a potential new Jigsaw copycat comes out of the shadows to bring pain and pleasure to the citizens of Arizona. When it comes to Saw stories, one of the things that's especially important is being able to tell a suspenseful, edge-of-your-seat narrative that both keeps you guessing and leaves you in shock by the end. I think the writers did a great job with setting up the twist and creating a brand new threat. How many people came victim to the new Jigsaw killer in this amazing fan film? Well, I've told you once before, but it's always good to double check your work. Does that count as plagiarism? Guess we'll find out when we get to the kills. The short film begins with a man walking through an empty park in the middle of the night. You see, this is why I don't go outside. He's basically begging to be kidnapped by a Jigsaw killer. Off the bat, this short film lets you know that it's sponsored by Pizza Hut. Personally, I'm more of a Domino's guy myself, but it's okay. Whatever pizza conglomerate makes you happy. This man's name is Sam Jones. Supposed Pizza Hut worker Sam Jones is on his way home from probably Pizza Hut. On his way home, Sam Jones scrolls through Instagram when he sees what I believe to be a Mario Kart meme that he apparently already liked. Sam Jones gets a phone call from an unknown number that may or may not be a safe contact, and hangs up because nobody enjoys scam calls. As he continues going to wherever he's going, he receives 2 more calls regarding his car's extended warranty, which he also hangs up on. Now, this is more speculation than anything, but listen to this clip and let me know if it sounds familiar. Anything? What about now? With the killer title being sent to voicemail, he sends a text to Sam Jones that ominously reads, "I want to play a game." And Sam Jones reacts the same way your mom might react when you tell her that you used her credit card.
What game? What the fuck is this?
Sam Jones seems to be distracted by his stalker that he doesn't realize that there's a man behind him trying his best at the runway. After walking up a bit of stairs and into a parking lot, he answers a call with the exact way you'd expect to be treated when calling Pizza Hut.
"Listen, cocksucker, why don't you go dial someone else to try to get a
Oh shit, it's a fucking pighead! Sam Jones gets kidnapped by a Mr. Piggy jump scare, and I gotta say, the mask they used is a pretty good prop. So I gotta give it to them for finding a mask similar to those used in the movies. Sam Jones wakes up only to find that his Pizza Hut shirt and hat are missing. Does this mean new Jigsaw canonically dislikes Pizza Hut? Shame on you, new Jigsaw. This is no way to leave a bad review. Sam Jones finds himself with a bar in his mouth and chained to some kind of contraption. Sam Jones presses play on a tape player and an eerily similar voice comes on, greeting the Pizza Hut worker. The man behind the tape recorder states that Sam Jones here is a social media influencer, which is a big no-no. If you're wondering why I've been calling Sam Jones by his full name, it's because the new Jigsaw weirdly calls everyone by their full name, instead of just their first name like the regular Jigsaw does.
Hello, Sam Jones, Dylan Rhodes, Lyrica Davies.
Maybe I'm reading into it too much, but maybe it's a thing that the killer does to differentiate himself from Jigsaw. Either that, or it's just the trap that amateur writers fall into where you give a character last names to make them seem more like actual people and less like one-note characters. Not that I've ever done that myself. We're told that Sam Jones cuts himself for attention, and so the new Jigsaw voice wants to see if he really wants to live. Quick note, this piggy puppet fucking rules. He looks like the cutest shelf decoration I have ever seen. Imagine a bobblehead version of this just sitting on your dashboard while all your friends wonder why you have such a creepy looking bobblehead in your car. Anyone else? No? Just me? If you haven't figured out already, this movie is chock full of cool props, and I'll be sure to call them out along the way. The new Jigsaw tells him that when he presses stop on the tape player, the chain will yank his arms and he has to last 60 seconds. Now, I gotta admit, I still don't understand what this trap is supposed to do. It's not exactly clear since he doesn't seem hurt at the moment. It's almost like he could just wait it out. Jigsaw also says he'll die if he stays here though, so maybe not. I think what's supposed to be happening is that when the chain is pulling his arms, it reopens the cuts on them. And that's a pretty terrifying thought on its own. But I don't get why he dies either, considering he did what he was supposed to do. My best guess is that it's supposed to be a rig trap similar to the pendulum trap in Saw 5. I don't know, man. After a lengthy sequence of watching actor Elijah Butler scream in wriggling pain, Sam Jones unfortunately fails the Jigsaw box skill checks. Sam Jones starts off our kill count bleeding to death and dying with the gratification that he no longer has to work at Pizza Hut. We then get hit with a fiery new title card, The Legacy of Jigsaw. We meet Alan Martinez waking up from a nightmare that was probably this film's post-production. Like I said before, Alan's played by director Alex Cotes. The song I Shall Be Released, performed by Jigsaw himself, Tobin Bell, plays in the background, and we see Alan's morning routine involving washing his hands, wasting electricity, putting on his favorite jacket, and watching the morning news. Alan here is an oddly young-looking detective for the Metro Police Department, which is the same police department from the Saw movies. Yes, the incompetent ones. Why and how anyone still works for this police department, I will never understand. Alan gets a call from his boss, who we never see by the way, and tells him to go to the courthouse where a body has been discovered. He walks for some reason, even though he has a car. And behind the trees, someone seems to be keeping an eye on him. He's using the usual stalker moves like watching, following, and teleporting? Who the fuck is this guy, Jason Voorhees? Alan and this dude, who is referred to as son of a bitch, have a bit of a hatred for each other. Well, maybe if you called him by his actual name, he might be a little nicer, Alan. We find out much later that his name is Dylan, played by writer Alexander Lee. Fun fact, we're not told his name until 26 minutes and 29 seconds into the film. Since we need some backstory for these characters, Dylan starts expositing some backstory that won't ever come into play, if I'm being honest here. Chekhov's gun just forever waiting to be fired. After hearing his own backstory, Alan gets some Vietnam flashbacks so scary that he decides to run away. Before he leaves, however, Dylan aggravates Alan and tells him that he should get a haircut. And if I'm being honest, yeah. It's a little distracting and Alan's face gets covered up in the very next shot. Although, Alan's mane is beautiful and you know he's been using the best hair products. Which brings us to our sponsor, Manscaped. Manscaped is... Hey, we don't have a sponsor. What? We're not sponsored. We're not sponsored by Manscaped? No. What about Raycon's E25 everyday earbuds with up to 32 hours of battery life that fit comfortably in your... Really? No? We don't have a sponsor? This is like our third video. We didn't get anything. Not a single company wanted to sponsor me. Why would they? Raid Shadow Legends. No. Squarespace. No. HelloFresh. No. NordVPN. No. ExpressVPN. No. How am I supposed to make money off this video? Tell them about the coffee thing. Coffee? Like the place where you can support a creator and donate to them if you genuinely enjoy the content? Yeah. Tell them that the link is in the description so they can help the channel. What do you mean you can find the link in the description to my Ko-fi and help out the channel? That's not a sponsor, that's just a regular plug. Yeah, and? Then why did you put Manscaped in the script? You wanted a sponsor and we didn't have any. Then don't put Manscaped in the script. You wanted to do a sponsored bit. And the people who came to watch a kill count are getting a shittier ripoff of Pitch Meeting, which you can go watch after this video with the link in the description. Did I mention Dylan's really sketchy considering he tries to walk into a crime scene? Like, the fuck, dude? That's like willingly playing Doki Doki again and then gently opening the door knowing that Sayori is hanging behind it. Huh? Oh, I'm sorry. Were you expecting something else? Hey, are you okay? You don't look so good. We're introduced to Matthews, played by Brandon Sierra, a coroner, I think, that works at the morgue. I think. I don't get why he's here taking photos, but I'll allow it. Matthews tells Alan that the body has been moved to an undisclosed location, and Alan gets confused about where the body went. He plays Sam's tape and hears the famous "I want to play a game," and decides he's heard enough. Alan has a fun jab at the movie releases and asks if they're going back to 2010. But there's a bit of a correction that needs to be made. Saw 7 happened in 2007 or latest 2008, considering the movies take place right after one another. Alan decides it's time for the investigation part of this murder mystery and finds another tape hidden on the table leg that calls on Martinez by name. We never hear the tape in its entirety, and Alan would probably be more prepared if he just listened to the whole thing, but it's cool. Matthews asks if they're officially dealing with a copycat. Martinez tells him no and calls it a day. Sometime later, a funeral happens for Pizza Hut aficionado Sam Jones. Matthews comes to the funeral late because of work stuff, and we get some insight on the relationship between Alan and the deceased Sam. Turns out, Sam had severe depression. Alan has some regrets for not being able to help him when he could. The two just want to get over the new Jigsaw copycat, and we get what still remains the funniest cut I've ever seen.
Fucking pussies.
I will always love the editing here, and the line delivery is my favorite. Dylan shames the two men for going to a funeral and says that back in his day, he just leaves people for dead and moves on, which, yeah, is foreshadowing, if that's not obvious enough. Coming out of that hospital is Erica Davis. She's Alan's ex-girlfriend, and she's played by Angie Michaelis? I think that's how it's pronounced, and I'm sorry if I got that wrong. The movie then thinks that the audience might not know what pendejo means. Erica calls Martinez and tells him that he's gotta go to the hospital because of a DNA test or something. I'm sure Alan will go straight to the hospital and that we'll get a resolution to the story thread. I'm sure Alan won't go home to think about his life decisions instead. We get a fade to black, and a flashback to 2 months ago shows us that Erica was pregnant and that it might have been Alan's child. He reacts in a way that I can't really sympathize with and leaves the poor Erica alone to have her baby. He doesn't even consider the idea that it could be his and just leaves Erica. We find out that she's been cheating on him, so it might not even be his baby, but it just seems so wrong that Alan would do this, you know? Alan walks away and does a stupid little smirk like he didn't just make a severe continuous lapse in his judgment. We also get a flashback of Sam and Alan. The two have a bit of a heart-to-heart, and Sam tells Alan that he doesn't want to live anymore. And like a good friend, He does the dumbest thing ever and accuses Sam of seeking attention. The two get into a heated argument and Alan straight up tells him that he just doesn't need him anymore. He kicks Sam out of the house because he's depressed. I don't know what's going on anymore. This means that he was lying to Matthews earlier about actually wanting to help Sam Jones. And fuck this guy. In case you forgot, this is our main character. You know, the person that we're supposed to be rooting for and, you know, like? I'm not sure whether to be on his side or be against him because, like, he just does so much bad shit. Back in the present day, Matthews comes over to Alan's house and brings some files on the Jigsaw killer for the investigation. Alan mentions that he plans to keep the tape player that they found as a souvenir in case the new Jigsaw wants to communicate. I'm sorry, what the fuck? They do a bit of a recap of the Saw movies, basically calling the police useless, which, yeah. The scene ends with the two deciding to go get some food. Maybe Pizza Hut? Meanwhile, Dylan's being a piece of shit as usual. What follows is a pretty good suspense scene with Dylan feeling that there's someone around and actively trying to look for him. Fortunately, Dylan's unable to fight back against the man behind the slaughter and he's drugged and taken to the Taco Bell backrooms. Dylan finds a funny looking collar around his neck and ATV tells him that the Shakespeare-inspired collar is actually a shotgun collar, and he has a name for it too.
Think of it as a colored shotgun.
The new Jigsaw tells him that he has to cut open the dead girl that he supposedly killed 2 or 3 years ago in order to get the key. Like the last time these requirements have shown up in a Saw movie, the girl's alive, obviously, which really begs the question whether this is actually just murder and Jigsaw allowed an innocent woman to be gutted. She begs him not to do it, but Dylan ain't no simp. He cuts into the poor girl and searches for his key to freedom. She spits blood and dies for real this time, which gives us another addition to the kill count. Dylan is just straight up crazy. Though I guess Amanda did the same in the first movie, so she's crazy too, but there's no surprise there. Unfortunately for Dylan, he's a bit of a klutz and he can't seem to get the trap off in time. And the shotgun collar activates, and his face gets riddled with holes as he runs out of time. Rest in peace, but for old time's sake, let's hear that line one more time.
Fucking pussies.
Back at the local Denny's, Alan and Matthews talk about the apprentices that Jigsaw had, and they start to suspect that Dylan is the copycat killer due to his appearance in the first crime scene. Alan gets a text from an unknown number that reads November 2nd, 2016. Somehow, Alan realizes that Dylan's in trouble, and since abandoning a suicidal person and a pregnant girl just isn't enough, they cripple the Denny's waitresses and dine and dash. The two speed down the highway, probably looking for the washroom considering that they just ate at Denny's, and in the car, Matthews gets a phone call from their boss saying that another body has been found. Alan gets suspicious of Matthews when they turn up at the house that's under construction. And boy, do they remind you that the house is under construction.
Matthews, are you sure this is the place? It just looks like a house under construction. We're fucking out here in a house under construction. I don't know, Matthews. From what I'm seeing, we're in a house that's under construction.
Alan's whole world literally flips, and he leaves Matthews and has a pretty strong reaction when he sees that he forgot to get gas.
Fuck!
Erica, in the meantime, is on her way to get mail in the middle of the night, as we all do, and these damn Gen Zs are just so addicted to their phones that Erica doesn't even notice that there's a pigman standing behind the P.O. box. This is exactly why peripheral vision is important. Unfortunately, with no safe loops around, she gets taken to the nearest basement. Erica wakes up in a garage with a tube in her mouth and hands tied behind her back. On the bright side, she's wearing a collector's edition pig mask. She gets her hands free from the barbed wire and finds a tape player by her feet. New Jigsaw tells her that she's here because she's a liar and a cheat, and that he means to punish her for her infidelity. We also find out that she went through an abortion, which means that canonically, this new Jigsaw is pro-life. Alright, here we go again. When I first covered this short film, I actually decided to count the baby as a kill, because this is the kill count. Though the more I thought about it, I realized that it's just completely unethical of me to put a baby on a kill count. I realized that it's just wrong of me to do, so I really do apologize, and I am going to make the tough decision and do it again. Erica gets told that the propane tank, oxygen tank, will over-oxygenate her body, saying that it's the oxygen that should have been given to her unborn child. New Jigsaw states that all she has to do is take off the mask, and seconds later, her game begins. In the meantime, Alan's in a parking lot trying to call Erica, but she seems to be a little tied up right now. The killer sends him a photo of Erica, and he once again drives off to the location. Alan speeds down the street to save his former lover, but sadly finds that she wasn't able to pull the mask off, and finds her body strewn across the floor. We never get to see Erica's death itself, but a more brutal deleted scene shows her spitting blood and succumbing to the trap, though I think the way it's presented in the movie is still shocking and edited together pretty well. What confuses me is that when Alan gets there, he takes off the mask, like, right away. So like, what's with the struggle? It kind of ruins the scene for me, but what doesn't ruin the scene for me is the slow motion scream and a very good display of emotion from Alan, who tries to give Erica CPR. Odd choice, but I'll allow it. He's unable to resuscitate her and leaves her body in one of the best shots in the entire short film. Alan goes home and he's just broken. And if there's anything this short film does well, it's that it lets you see Alan's despair, and you really get an idea of how he feels. He breaks over the course of the film, and now he's just desperate to find anything on our new Jigsaw killer. He finds a tape mixed in with the files that was given to him earlier, and the new Jigsaw tells him to go to Kate Road, which, yes, is a reference to the gang hideout where Detective Tapp and his partner Singh found Kramer in the first movie. Alan then says, "I got you," thinking that he actually achieved something, and heads to the location. When he arrives, he finds a giant spiral plastered on the wall because, well, what did you expect? Coming from behind is a familiar looking tricycle, and he sees an actual Billy doll? They actually got a Billy doll for this, and he looks amazing. I was so impressed that they were able to get this beautiful prop. The details on him are just, oh, they are perfect. He looks so good, and goddamn, I want this one on my shelf too. Alan plays the tape on the doll and hears the exact same line that Kramer gave Hoffman in Saw 4.
You are probably the last man standing.
Alan freaks out when he realizes that the new Jigsaw couldn't afford to record more lines, and he gets piggy-napped. Alan wakes up in the tunnel and finds that the new Jigsaw killer gave him a haircut and throws a tantrum in retaliation. A little piggy comes out of the shadows and stands right in front of him. Alan tells him to take off the mask, and surprisingly, the new Jigsaw killer agrees. He reveals himself to be none other than Matthews, that son of a bitch. I gotta say, when I watched it for the first time, I was shocked, and when I watched it the second time, I actually started to pick up on clues. So, good on Brandon Sierra for this twist, and I was pleasantly surprised by this. We get some pretty good acting from Andres Cotes and Brandon Sierra. Matthews tells him that he is the new Jigsaw and doesn't see himself as a copycat. Now, I do have to address the elephant in the room and say that Matthews doesn't really have a good motive beyond why not? Alan straight up asks him what his motive is, and he dodges the question and tells him that the victims created their own motive? It's not what he asked you. I don't really get it, but Matthews doesn't ever give a good explanation or reason as to why he decided to kill everyone. Matthews tells Alan that he was never there for him, which is a little possessive. He gives a reason for why he killed Sam, Dylan, and Erica, but we've already been told why. In fact, Alan already knows why Sam died, so in terms of what turned Matthews to become a serial killer, we don't really get a good explanation. I get that it's a short film, but I will say this is something that, especially when creating a Saw story, you have to get right. Giving the audience a good understanding of why your killer is doing what they're doing is very important, or it'll feel confusing and underwhelming. Now, this isn't a review, I know, but I have to be honest, I loved every part of this twist, except for the part where we don't know what Matthew's goals are. So I'm sorry. Alan's backstory also doesn't play much of a role in the story either, so it's kind of pointless, but that being said, Matthews does confirm that he killed Sam because he was on social media, so get off Twitter, you chronically online fucks. Matthews tells him that Alan's game is about to begin and shocks him. He then pulls out an extremely impressive looking reverse bear trap, and fun fact, this is not a prop from the movies, but it's actually modeled after the one from the Saw video game. You can tell because of the gears on the side. This prop also fucking rules. Matthews puts the reverse bear trap on Alan, and we get Charlie Clauser's beautiful Hello Zep from Spiral. Matthews' ego gets in the way and toys with Alan, but he shouldn't have trimmed his hair because Alan Uno reverses and attacks Matthews with a reverse bear trap. Alan rips off the holy grail of Saw traps off his head, and he beats the living shit out of Matthews. Okay, maybe calm down. Alan gets some second thoughts and finds that he just can't bring himself to kill his once friend. If only Matthews felt the same way, because he just stabs Alan in the stomach. A very familiar scene plays, and Matthew shocks Alan and leaves him to die. The movie ends with one final shot of Matthews as he gets ready to leave behind Alan, and gives the famous line, "You know and come to expect." He closes the door and ends this short film. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and do the exact same thing I did before and leave Alan off the count, since we don't exactly see him die, and I have a very good feeling that he isn't dead. So, you're just gonna have to trust me on this one. How many kills did our new Jigsaw killer get in this amazing fan film? Well, I've told you once before, but let's find out and get to the numbers. I once again counted a total of 5 kills in Game Over the Legacy of Jigsaw, the lowest in the series obviously, but still an impressive number for a short film. There were 2 guys and 2 girls and 1 baby of indeterminate gender or father. With a runtime of over 55 minutes, that leaves us with a kill on average every 11.04 minutes. I'll give the golden chainsaw to Sam. It's a brutal one, but I still don't know how I feel about his overall trap goal. And because I don't want to give the dull machete to an unborn child, I'll give the dull machete to the cellmate, who didn't get a chance to do anything and didn't get a name in the credits. Now, for every Saw film, there's also a platinum punji for the coolest trap and a rusty mouse trap for the least favorite trap. So I'll give the platinum punji to the opening chain trap, and I'll give the rusty mouse trap to the oxygen trap, because Alan took it off and ruined the entire thing. Continuing with tradition, James gives their Saw movies their own dedicated subtitle. And so for this short film, I'm going to call it Game Over, We Couldn't Afford Hoffman. And that's it. Game Over the Legacy of Jigsaw came out in 2022, and as much shit as I gave it for, it's an impressive short film, and making one of those is not an easy task. I commend everyone that worked on this short film. You all did an amazing job, and I've just been told that there was in fact a sequel announced recently called Game Over, The Return of Jigsaw. So I can't wait for that, because you know for a fact I'll be doing another kill count when that comes out. I recommend checking out the director's channel, AC Studios Entertainment, and watch some of his other work. They uploaded a teaser 5 months ago announcing a new short film, Annabelle Returns, which I will also be covering whenever that comes out. I also wanted to release this video on the exact same day that I posted the original video, and it was just a twist of fate that the Saw X trailer released too, so I'm glad that worked out. And in 2 weeks, I'll be uploading original videos from now on, starting on Friday, August 11, and I'll try to have a new video out every other Friday, so stay tuned for that. But until then, I'm still not James A. Janice, but this has been a ripoff of the Kill Count. Thank you so much for watching / rewatching this Kill Count. I originally did the entire thing as a joke for director Cotes, who actually had no idea I was doing this in the first place. He was a really good sport about all the jokes I made, and so I decided to finally start making actual videos for myself. As I said in the ad roll section of this video, I do have a Ko-fi page that you can donate to and support the channel. If you don't already know, I stream on Twitch every Wednesday at twitch.tv/Mxhiyu, so come check it out. Be sure to follow me on social media too at Mxhiyu, so you can get updates and teases on projects and videos that I'm working on. That's all from me, and remember, be good people.